Assalamu alaikum. This is Brother Hameed with the Muslim Empowerment Institute. I just want to get some thoughts and reflections on the 2019 Black Muslim Conference. In 2018, I gave my thoughts on the first annual Black Muslim Conference before I actually attended. This time, with the permission of Allah, I was able to attend. The conference was cool. I always enjoy seeing the Muslims, especially those that look like me. That's always good. I enjoyed listening to the different panel discussions which were relevant to the Black American Muslim experience. The venue, though, was downtown in a high traffic area in Atlanta, Georgia. The parking was kind of difficult and expensive, and the restaurant options in that area weren't really all that good, but inshallah it'll be better for the next conference. So a lot of the people had questions, and some of them weren't able to get their questions answered due to the time constraints. Many of the people gave their whole life story before actually asking the questions, and that kind of dragged the whole thing out a bit. So they had many of our Black Muslim scholars speaking on a lot of different topics that were relevant to the Black American Muslim experience. They talked about marriage and family, polygyny, economics, just to name a few. Sheikh Abdullah Hakim Quick provided a 10-point manifesto to revive the Black Muslim community, which was really beneficial information that was actionable. He also said that if our labels, meaning the different overseas extensions, the different Islamic groups that we attach ourselves to, are causing us to be disunited, then we need to discard them. I've been saying that. And they discussed interfaith relations. Imam Dawood Walid talked about how Black folks have negative interactions with immigrant Muslims, more specifically the convenience store owners. And this has negatively impacted the image of Islam in the Black community. He talked about how we need to go into our own communities and have a presence. Unfortunately, the days are passing when Black folks could think of a Muslim with the idea of someone who was trying to benefit the Black community. But now, as a result of these convenience stores, our people think of the foreign-born Muslims selling pork and alcohol and being racist towards us. And our people just see us as just folks who are just trying to imitate immigrants, from what I've been told. And to be frank, can you really blame them, though? They see us becoming Muslims and we're coming with the foreign dress and we're talking about Palestine and these other countries that we never even been to. So Imam Dawood Walid also said we need to stop trying to put ourselves under the umbrella of folks who don't say La ilaha illallah. Ain't that the truth? Some folks are so stuck on this intersectionality stuff that you're going to intersect yourself right with the shaitan into the hellfire. And then Sheikh Khalil Abdul Rashid talked about how we need to modernize how we propagate Islam, and that really resonated with me. He talked about how Islam today has basically removed the Black American experience. And a lot of us was instrumental in that, unfortunately. When we started to accept foreign-born Muslims as our religious authority figures, this put Black Muslims on the back of the camel. And this has caused irreparable harm to our reputation as Black people in America, leading us to cultural apostasy. See, once we started to consider a Black agenda to be antithetical to Islam, that's when we lost it. When in reality, if it wasn't for a Black agenda, Black folks would have never been attracted to Islam in the first place. So we got to work hard to fix this. And then Dr. Jackson said in his closing remarks, he said that we will never have power until we have unity. And unity is not the same as uniformity. So inshallah, I hope all of us can unite on our shared culture along with our Islamic beliefs. So I'm about to get into some stuff that they really weren't able to spend a lot of time on, but it was stuff that had a lot of people's attention. There were a couple of Black Muslim women who had questions about not having many marital options. And they complained about how Black men, specifically Muslim men, marry other races. And the scholars didn't really have a lot of solutions for this. Well, actually, I take that back. Imam Siraj tried to give a solution. He started off his talk in one of the panel discussions asking the question, are women against or for polygyny? So like all of the Muslims said against. Then he asked again, are women against or for polygyny? And again, they all said against. So that pretty much answers that. I think the majority of black Muslim women, just like black women, will probably never marry. It's just not enough black Muslim men or men to go around. So if this is the case, how are we going to have a next generation of black Muslims? That's a good question. But you may have a masjid full of elderly black Muslim women who never married and didn't have any children. But as I was told, when they hit their late 30s, the high expectations on the wish list tends to go from 3 pages to a paragraph. And then, when they hit their 40s, they'll be asking the same scholars to tell these brothers to marry the older sisters. And they'll be wondering, who's going to marry us? Nobody. That's who. You'll be married in Jannah, though. Now, with black Muslim marriages, can we really say that women are giving up their rights by continuing to work and have a career when they got a husband here in 21st century America? In 2050, black wealth will be at 0 according to reports. So we need to work together if we want to survive. So let me unwrap this whole thing for you. I'm about to discuss black Muslim women, black Muslim men, interracial marriage, polygyny, and feminism. This is the stuff everybody wants to talk about. Now, in this day and time, with the deliberate dismantling of patriarchy, women are winning, especially black women. In fact, black women are reported to be the most educated group in America. So black Muslim women are included in this. Now, black women are not winning in the marriage department. Black women are the last to marry and the first to divorce. Only 26% of black women are even married, according to the 2016 U.S. Census report. Being college educated is linked to lower divorce rates for white women, but black women are not getting the same benefit. Now, we push our daughters to be attorneys, physicians, nurses, educators, and so on. From what I noticed, out of all the things we push them in, we're not pushing them into being wives and mothers. That's last on the priority list. Black Muslim women in their 20s focus on school, career, and traveling. And when they're actually ready to get married in their late 20s and early 30s, it's too late. The average age of marriage in America is 27. 50 years ago, it was around 21, 22. Now, a woman's peak reproductive years are at the time of puberty up into the late 20s. So if you graduate from college at 21, 22 and you're traveling, living your best life, focused on your career for the next 8 to 10 years, and then you want to get married after all of this, then your options are going to be extremely limited. And as the sister Ustada Nuruddin Knight mentioned, this is more than a black Muslim woman problem. This is a black woman problem. Now, you said you want to marry a black Muslim. Alhamdulillah. Wish we can get all the black Muslim men to say the same thing. I'm going to talk about that in a moment. Okay, would you marry a man that makes less money than you? No. He needs to be able to maintain me in my extravagant lifestyle. Even though I'm not married and I don't have any kids and I've been working in my career for 15 years and I've accumulated a lot of wealth since it's just me taking care of myself with no one else to take care of. So this house note I got, I want you to take it on. This Mercedes-Benz note I got, I want you to take it on. These trips that I take, I want you to take me. Can you do that for me, black Muslim man? Oh, you can't? You're like 8 years older than me. What you been doing all this time? Well, sister, I've been spending half of my life studying the Islamic sciences, memorizing the Quran, learning fiqh and aqidah. She says, doesn't the Quran say that the men are the providers and protectors of women? Doesn't it say this? Well, yeah, sister, but I can't continue your extravagant lifestyle, nor is it my obligation to do so. I'm about the deen and not accumulating the dunya. So the brother says, I'm going to go out and married Tamika instead. Tamika says she'll take her shahada for me. She says she's never met anyone like me before. She said that she prayed for someone like me, and she's happy for me just to pay the rent. Plus, she don't even know what a dowry is. This is the situation that we're in. This whole thing of black Muslim men marrying immigrants is really exaggerated. This is something that a few black Muslim men who spent time in the Muslim world do. The biggest threat in marriage for black Muslim women is not Fatima from Morocco. It's Keisha from South Philly. Real talk. Now, the stuff that black Muslim women are requesting is not necessarily unrealistic or unfair per se in the general sense. It's just unrealistic for the majority of black Muslim men. This is why we need to educate the next generation of young black Muslim women to base their marital wish list on what's actually available for them and not what they think they deserve. And not something that your immigrant college friend was able to get. You may not be able to get that. This is the reality. Now, I would say to black Muslim women, don't get mad if the brother marries an immigrant. Maybe that wasn't the one for you. Personally, I would feel uncomfortable with the communication and cultural barrier. The fact of the matter is, you don't really want some of these brothers in the first place. So don't be mad at him because he married an immigrant when he tried to marry you, and you told him he didn't make enough money. Now, who's really driving black Muslim men to marry immigrants? Who's driving black Muslim men to marry non-Muslim women? You tell me. Now, I heard it before. She wants too much, but is only willing to give so little in return. All she talked about is what I'm supposed to provide, and not once did she say what she had to bring to the table. I bet if I fall upon hard times and lose my job, she's going to be out of here smoking. Now, at the same time, if the black Muslim scholars are not encouraging black Muslim men to marry black Muslim women, then what are we going to do? Now, I encourage black folks to marry each other. In order for Islam to continue, for the sake of the culture and our survival, we got to marry each other. Now, black Muslim woman, we can accept all your faults and flaws, but not if you're not willing to accept ours. If we can't do this for the sake of our survival as black American Muslims, then we won't be marrying each other. One of the panelists said that the most successful black men are marrying other races, and she alluded to it being a result of self-hate. The thing that made this thing so funny was that a lot of the scholars participating in the conference are married to other races. So one of the panelists said that I don't have an obligation to marry black women. I marry women who have deen and who I'm attracted to. So he kind of insinuated that black Muslim women don't have deen and are not attractive. Anyways, now to black Muslim men. As black folks in America, we send our daughters to college and our sons to jail. We send our daughters to college and our sons to jail. We encourage our sons to play sports. We buy them a bunch of video games, or for Muslims, we encourage them to learn the deen, which is good. But we need to be bivocational. I like how some of the immigrants do it. They study deen and they study medicine. I remember at a mostly immigrant masjid, the person who led Tarawih prayers was a neurosurgeon. I've seen it several times. We don't want these sisters to be blaming us on why they remain single. They do need to be more realistic, but we need to go out here and get this money. We gotta work. Sure, you can sit in the masjid all day making dhikr, building up your bank of good deeds, but you need to be building up your bank of dividends so you can go out here and take care of these women. Real talk. Quran and Sunnah and Fiqh and Aqidah don't attract women. So we shouldn't limit ourselves as men thinking we can't get the deen and the dunya. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow us to get the dunya so that we can properly provide for our families. Ya Rabbil Alameen. Ameen. And with marrying the immigrant women, because You want this docile, submissive woman that don't really exist except in gender. We got to realize that black women have had a rough time in America, just as much as us. They're the new heads of the households in the black community. The only way we can change that is by staying out of jail and being responsible and getting good jobs. No one is stopping us from this but us. Black Muslim man, if Muslima don't want to marry you because you got a criminal record or whatever, I know that's humiliating. You read about the beauty of Islam and the brotherhood of Islam, and then you can't even get married and you're actually a good guy. Just marry Tamika and keep it moving. And just be patient. Maybe she'll become Muslim one day. So let me tell you the real reason why most Muslims are against polygyny. Is it because of jealousy? Is it because of insecurity? Is it because of the fear of losing some of their provisions? Perhaps, but I'll give you a scenario. Let's say I have the only halal restaurant in town. If I'm the only one in town, I can give you bad service, I can give you bad food, and there's not a whole lot you can do about it. But let's say another restaurant opens up in town. When I got competition, I can't give you bad service anymore. I got to make sure the food is good because folks got options. The reason why Muslim women don't like polygyny is because they don't want another woman to have to force them to compete and do what they need to do to keep you. Without any competition, they don't have a reason to do this, especially when the courts are on their side in the event of a divorce. She ain't trying to compete with another woman. She's trying to compete with you. Real talk. And this is a good segue into this whole feminism thing. You got folks trying to intersect feminism with Islam. There was a woman at the conference who apparently is a feminist. And she said that Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was a feminist. And then Sheikh Abdullah Hamid Ali said that to say that Prophet Muhammad is a feminist is blasphemy. She got all in the feelings about it. I believe feminism with black women is just a reaction to the emasculation of men. If men were on their posts and behaving like sovereigns, these white women would have never been able to have the ears of black women with this whole feminism thing. I think this is really dangerous for black Muslim women to adopt feminism because it doesn't help them at all. It keeps them single. But if a woman gets a good man to marry, she'll leave that feminism stuff in a heartbeat. I looked at the architects of feminism, and they were all white and married with children. Think about that. But the black feminists are usually single. So black women, they want men to provide and protect, and at the same time, you want to be feminist, and you just can't have it both ways. So in closing, just to summarize a few points, I really don't see black Muslim men marrying immigrants as much as they marry non-Muslim women. It's just the path of least resistance. If we don't want that to happen, then we have to be more realistic in our expectations of each other. I don't think black Muslim women are gonna just be nuns for the rest of their life and just be by themselves. That ain't gonna happen. I predict with the current fetishizing of the hijab in popular culture, Muslim women are gonna just do like the men and marry non-Muslims. It is what it is. And another point, in some situations, the way that a successful black man got his money was by not getting married and having children in the first place. So that successful black man ain't trying to get married to get bogged down by women and children. It is what it is. And he's definitely not trying to do polygyny because he don't want to lose his money. Women need to understand this. So successful black men marry non-black women, and successful black women ain't marrying nobody. And that's a shame. We're in a time now where the only way people are intimate is through zina and uncommitted relationships. It's one of the signs of the Day of Judgment. But if we put so many barriers to marriage, this is only going to increase. Black Muslim leaders gotta step up and encourage black Muslim men to marry black Muslim women. No doubt about it. Get that through your kufi. Are we not happy with ourselves, or do we want to just merge into other ethnicities? We gotta stop thinking that 500-year-old Islamic texts got all the answers for 21st century problems. Why is this? Because Imam Ghazali never met Negroes. We're dealing with the residuals of hundreds of years of slavery, Reconstruction, Jim Crow, integration, drugs, gangster rap, feminism, and the promotion of homosexuality. Our expression of Islam has to contend with this, and that's a whole lot. There's no one-size-fits-all approach to Islam. I wish we can understand this. I'm all for the culture, and if we want Islam to continue in the black community, we're all going to have to make sacrifices, men and women. We got to be more committed. The vegans are more committed to plant-based diets. The gays are more committed to doing what they do. But how many of us are actually committed to the continuation of Islam within the black American community? We've adopted the principles of secular humanism, where we're all just committed to being individuals and focusing on ourselves and the dunya. And this is not going to work for our community. We need grassroots efforts in our local communities. We got to build physical communities. This is a necessity. We got to live from amongst each other, and we got to do business with each other. As a Muslim, you got to think collectively as a community and not as a lone wolf that's just out here for yourself. What they decide at a conference may not mean a whole lot on a national level if you can't get it done in your own backyard. Black American Muslims are mostly concentrated or originate in the Northeast. You need to be cognizant of this gentrification thing because it's exploding in all the major cities, as our beloved Imam Zayd discussed. Oakland, California has lost a significant number of its black population, which has impacted its black Muslim community. It may be in your best interest to consider alternatives with residing in some of these major cities. Soon in these major cities, people are going to be fighting each other for resources, and it's going to be bad too. So, black Muslims, be ahead of the game in this. You say, well, why should I move away from Philly and New York when it's easy to be Muslim? Everybody's Muslim here. Muslims are everywhere. Well, guess what? It's easy not to be Muslim there too. We really need to build institutions outside of the masjid. I'm not talking about Facebook groups. And the Imam's expertise is Quran, fiqh, aqidah, and the like. But we expect him to be the mental health therapist, the marriage counselor, the attorney, and so on and so forth. Lastly, brothers and sisters, we have to marry from amongst each other, from those that look like you and have a shared culture. At least we should, or at least we should try. We're trying to marry all these different races, and ain't none of these races trying to marry us except with some ulterior motive. Let us revive Islam within the black American community together and secure a future for ourselves and our posterity. Check out the articles on blackdawah.network.com and muslimempowermentinstitute.org and on our social media. Check out the State of Islam in Black America book by Imam Amin Athari. Imam Amin is going all over the country to many of our masajid discussing how we as a community can get out of last place. Check out the other links in the description area below, and along with the other videos on this channel. Until next time, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.